Let's begin. The Honda Civic's taillights disappeared around the corner, carrying my daughter away for another weekend. Thomas Vaughn, that's me, 42 years old, high school chemistry teacher, weekend father. I stood in the driveway of my rented duplex, the October wind cutting through my jacket, watching until I couldn't see the car anymore. The custody arrangement said every other weekend, 2 weeks in summer, alternating holidays. A judge had decided how much time I got with my own child. I shoved my hands in my pockets, ready to head inside, when my fingers brushed paper. Emma's note. She'd pressed it into my palm during our goodbye hug, her brown eyes so much like mine meeting mine with unusual intensity. Don't read until I'm gone, Daddy. 7 years old, and already keeping secrets. The thought made my chest tight. I pulled out the folded paper, and Emma's careful second-grade handwriting emerged. Dad, check under your bed tonight. Grandma hid something there yesterday. My blood went cold. Grandma. Bernice Wright, my ex-mother-in-law, had been in my house yesterday. Yesterday was Thursday. Kathy had texted asking if Emma could stay an extra night, since she had a school event Friday morning closer to my place. I'd agreed immediately. Any extra time with Emma was precious. Kathy had dropped her off Wednesday evening and picked her up Friday afternoon. Normal, unremarkable, except apparently, Bernice had let herself in at some point. How the hell did she have a key? I was inside my house in seconds, moving fast down the hallway to my bedroom. The duplex was small, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, nothing fancy, but it was mine. Or it would be, once I finished paying rent to Stuart Bass, my landlord. After the divorce, Kathy got the house we'd bought together. Her mother made sure of that, hiring Clifford Whitaker, the most aggressive divorce attorney in 3 counties. I got my daughter every other weekend and a mountain of debt from legal fees. My bedroom was exactly as I'd left it this morning. Bed made with military precision, a habit from my brief stint in the Army before college. Dresser clear except for a picture of Emma and me at the zoo. Nightstand with a lamp and the book I was reading. I dropped to my knees and looked under the bed frame. Nothing visible. I grabbed the flashlight from my nightstand, shined it into the darkness. There, pushed far back against the wall, a black duffel bag I'd never seen before. My hand trembled slightly as I pulled it out. Heavy. The zipper was unlocked. I opened it. Plastic-wrapped bricks. Dozens of them. White powder visible through the clear packaging. My chemistry background meant I recognized it immediately even before seeing the distinctive texture. Methamphetamine. Not user quantities. Distribution amounts. Enough to put me away for 20 years. Jesus Christ. I sat back on my heels, my mind racing through the implications. Someone Bernice had planted major felony quantities of meth in my house. If the police found this during a random check, a wellness visit, anything, my life was over. Emma's too. I'd lose custody permanently. I'd go to prison. This wasn't just manipulation. This was attempted murder. Of everything I had left. But Emma had warned me. My 7-year-old daughter had risked her grandmother's wrath to warn me. Think, Thomas. Think like the scientist you are. I pulled out my phone, hands steadier now as the shock gave way to cold calculation. I didn't touch the bag again. Instead, I photographed it from multiple angles, time-stamped, showing exactly where I'd found it. I photographed the underside of my bed frame, the dust patterns clearly showing where the bag had been pushed. I documented everything. Then I called 911. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Thomas Vaughn. I just found a large quantity of what appears to be methamphetamine hidden under my bed in my home. I need to report this immediately. There was a pause. Sir, you're reporting that you found drugs in your own residence? Yes. I believe they were planted here to frame me. My 7-year-old daughter warned me. I haven't touched anything except to pull the bag out to verify what it was. I need police here now to document this properly. Officers are on their way. Sir, please exit the residence and wait outside. I did. Standing in my driveway again, I called my friend and colleague, Joseph Law, a physics teacher who lived 10 minutes away. Joe, I need you to come to my place right now and bring your camera. Trust me, police are coming. What the hell happened? I'll explain when you get here. Just come, please. He arrived before the police, bless him. Joseph was 60, gray-haired, steady as bedrock. I explained quickly, showed him the photos on my phone. That evil bitch, he breathed. You're sure it was Bernice? Emma's note said Grandma. And think about it, Kathy doesn't have the spine to pull something like this. This is Bernice's play. She's been trying to get full custody of Emma since the divorce. She thinks I'm not good enough. Never was. This would eliminate me completely. The police arrived, 2 officers, then a detective, then more officers. I explained everything calmly, professionally, showed them the note from Emma, showed them my photographs, explained about my ex-mother-in-law's access. Her motivation, Detective Antonio Drew, a sharp-eyed man in his 50s, listened carefully. Mr. Vaughn, I appreciate you calling this in. That was smart, but you understand this looks suspicious. Of course it does. That's the point. Someone wanted it to look suspicious. But ask yourself if these were my drugs. Why would I call you? Why would I have time-stamped photographs documenting their discovery? Why would my daughter have warned me about them? Drew nodded slowly. We'll need to take the bag into evidence. We'll need to process your home. And we'll need to talk to your daughter. Talk to her without her mother present. Without her grandmother. Kathy's mother has been controlling that family for years. Emma was brave enough to warn me. Give her the chance to tell the truth. The detective studied me. You seem very calm for a man who just found meth in his house. I teach chemistry to teenagers. Detective. Staying calm during chaos is a survival skill. But make no mistake, I'm furious. Someone tried to destroy my life and traumatize my child. I want justice. They processed the scene for hours. Joseph stayed with me, documenting everything with his camera. The drugs were logged, tagged, removed. They fingerprinted the bag, the bricks, everything. They searched my entire house with my permission, found nothing else. Finally, around midnight, Detective Drew approached me on the porch where I sat with Joseph. Mr. Vaughn, we're done for tonight. Don't leave town. We'll be in touch. What about my daughter? Will you interview her? We'll coordinate with Child Protective Services. Given the allegations, they'll want to be involved. And my ex-wife? Her mother? We'll be talking to everyone involved. He paused. Off the record? I've been doing this 20 years. Your story makes sense. The evidence supports it. But we need to prove it. I understand. After they left, Joseph made coffee while I sat at my kitchen table. Emma's notes spread in front of me. You're going to fight this, Joseph said. It wasn't a question. I'm going to end this. I looked up at my friend. Bernice has been poisoning my relationship with my daughter for 3 years. She convinced Kathy to divorce me. Convinced the judge I was an unfit father because I worked too much. I was working 2 jobs to pay for Emma's private school. She's had her way too long. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. But Bernice Wright made a mistake tonight. She involved Emma. My daughter risked everything to warn me. I felt the anger crystallize into something harder, colder. I'm going to find out how she got those drugs, where they came from, and I'm going to make sure she pays for every ounce of pain she's tried to cause. Joseph sipped his coffee. You'll need help. I know. Will you help me? What kind of question is that? Of course. I managed a small smile. Then, let's start by figuring out how Bernice Wright got her hands on 20 pounds of methamphetamine. The weekend passed in a blur of anxiety. No word from Kathy. No contact with Emma. I didn't want to call and risk getting her in trouble. I spent Saturday researching, documenting, preparing. Joseph came over Sunday morning with pastries and a laptop. I did some digging, he said, setting up at my kitchen table. Bernice Wright isn't just a wealthy widow. Her late husband, Robert Wright, owned Wright commercial properties, warehouses, storage facilities, a few shady rental properties. When he died 15 years ago, Bernice inherited everything. And 3 of those properties have been flagged in police reports over the years. Nothing stuck, but there were investigations. Suspected drug activity at a warehouse in 2019, illegal gambling at a storage facility in 2021. She's connected, Thomas. I leaned over his shoulder, reading the police reports he'd pulled from public records. She has criminal connections. Looks like it. And get this, one of her tenants is a guy named Andre Gillespie, arrested twice for drug trafficking, never convicted. Currently rents a warehouse from Bernice in the industrial district. Think she got the drugs from him? I think it's worth investigating. Monday morning, I went to work despite my lawyer's advice to take time off. Arnold Yates, my attorney court-appointed during the divorce because I couldn't afford better, had called Sunday evening after Detective Drew contacted him. Thomas, this is serious, Arnold had said. Even though you called it in, possession charges could still be filed. I didn't possess anything. It was planted. You'll need to prove that. And custody-wise, CPS will investigate. They might suspend your visitation until this is resolved. The thought of not seeing Emma made me want to put my fist through a wall. But I kept my voice level. Then, we prove it. Fast. At school, I went through the motions of teaching while my mind worked the problem. First period, AP Chemistry. The students were discussing reaction rates, and I half listened while sketching out what I knew. Bernice had access to my house. How? Kathy must have given her a key, or Bernice copied one somehow. She had connections to drug traffickers through her real estate holdings. She had motive. Eliminating me meant full access to Emma. She had opportunity. Wednesday night through Friday morning while Emma was staying with me. But Emma saw something. Enough to warn me. During lunch period, my phone buzzed. Detective Drew. Mr. Vaughn, we interviewed your daughter this morning with a CPS worker present. No parents in the room. My heart hammered. And she confirmed her grandmother was at your residence Thursday morning. Said Bernice told her to stay in the living room watching cartoons while she put something away in Daddy's room. Your daughter got worried because Grandma seemed nervous. Sneaky, she said. I closed my eyes in relief. Thank you. Thank you for believing her. We're pursuing this as a potential frame job. But Mr. Vaughn, I need to ask, do you have any idea where your ex-mother-in-law might have obtained methamphetamine? Actually, Detective, I might. Can I share some information my friend discovered? I told him about the properties, about Andre Gillespie, about the pattern of investigations. Drew was silent for a long moment. That's interesting. Very interesting. Let me look into this. In the meantime, your visitation is suspended pending the CPS investigation. I'm sorry. The words hit like a physical blow, but I'd expected them. I understand. Mr. Vaughn, your daughter asked the social worker to give you a message. What message? Tell Daddy. I'm sorry I couldn't hide it better. She tried to move the bag, apparently. Couldn't lift it, so she left you the note instead. My vision blurred. My 7-year-old daughter had tried to protect me, had risked her grandmother's manipulation to save me. Thank you for telling me. After school, I drove to the industrial district, to the address Joseph had found. Wright Commercial Properties owned a warehouse on the east side. Number 347, rented to Andre Gillespie. I didn't get close, just parked across the street with a pair of binoculars, watching. Nothing happened for 2 hours. Then a black SUV pulled up. A man got out mid-30s, muscular, moving with the casual confidence of someone used to intimidating others. He unlocked the warehouse and went inside. I took photos. Time-stamped, dated. Started a file. This was just the beginning. Tuesday morning, Kathy finally called. Thomas, what the hell did you tell the police? Her voice was shrill, stressed. They're saying my mother planted drugs in your house? That's insane. Is it? I kept my voice calm. Professional. Your mother was in my house without permission, Kathy. Emma confirmed it. The police found methamphetamine. What exactly do you think happened? I think you're trying to frame my mother because you're bitter about the divorce. I called the police myself. I have time-stamped evidence. And our 7-year-old daughter warned me. She saw Bernice put something in my room. Do you really think I'm making this up? Silence. Then, quieter, Mother said. She said she was just checking on Emma, making sure you were taking care of her properly. By hiding drugs under my bed? She wouldn't do that. Kathy, listen to yourself. Your mother has controlled every aspect of your life since we met. She hated me from day one, because I wasn't rich enough, prestigious enough. She convinced you to divorce me. She fought for maximum custody, and now she's tried to frame me for drug possession to eliminate me completely. You don't know that. The police do. They have evidence. And Kathy? I paused, letting the steel enter my voice. If you continue protecting her, you're going to lose Emma too. CPS is investigating. They'll want to know if you were complicit. I wasn't. I didn't know anything about this. Then help them. Tell them the truth. About your mother's control. About how she got access to my house. About her real estate properties and the people she associates with. Another long silence. I need to think. Think fast. Our daughter is caught in the middle of this. She hung up. I sat in my empty duplex, staring at the wall where Emma's drawings were taped: butterflies, rainbows, stick figures of the two of us holding hands. My phone buzzed again. Joseph. Thomas, you need to see something. I've been digging deeper into Bernice's finances. She's been moving money. Lots of it. Through shell companies, offshore accounts. This is bigger than just drugs. Man, I think she's laundering money. Send me everything you found. Already did. Check your email. I opened my laptop and started reading. Joseph had been thorough: bank records, pulled from public filings, property transfers, business licenses. Bernice Wright had her fingers in a dozen different enterprises, all of them cash-heavy: storage facilities, laundromats, car washes, classic money laundering setups, and all of them rented to people with criminal records. An idea began forming. Dangerous, possibly illegal, but effective. If Bernice wanted to play dirty, I could play dirtier. I just needed to be smarter about it. I called Detective Drew. Detective, I think we need to talk about Bernice Wright's business dealings. I believe the drugs in my house are connected to a much larger operation. Wednesday, I met with Detective Drew and another man, an FBI agent named Frederick Sutton. Sutton was younger, intense, and very interested in what I had to say. Mr. Vaughn, you're suggesting your ex-mother-in-law is involved in organized crime? I'm suggesting her properties are being used for criminal activity, and she's either complicit or actively participating. Look at the evidence. I spread Joseph's research across the conference table. Multiple properties, all cash businesses, all rented to individuals with criminal records. Money moving through shell companies. And somehow, she had access to distribution-level quantities of methamphetamine. Sutton studied the documents. This is good work. Who compiled this? A friend. A physics teacher. He's good with data. We've actually had Bernice Wright on our radar, Sutton admitted. Nothing concrete enough to pursue. But if we can prove she planted those drugs, we can leverage that to investigate the larger operation. What do you need from me? Your cooperation, your testimony, and patience. Building a case takes time. I don't have time. My daughter is with that woman right now. CPS is monitoring the situation. Your daughter is safe. Safe. Detective Drew, Agent Sutton. My daughter is 7 years old, living with a woman who planted drugs to frame me, who's teaching her to keep secrets, to be afraid. How is that safe? Drew leaned forward. We understand your frustration, Mr. Vaughn, but you need to let us do our jobs. I wanted to argue, wanted to demand faster action, but I swallowed it down, nodded. Fine, but I'm not sitting idle. I'm going to keep looking. Just don't do anything illegal, Sutton warned. We can't use evidence obtained through illegal means. Of course not. I met his eyes. I'm a high school teacher. I follow the rules. They didn't need to know I was planning to break every rule necessary to protect my daughter. That night, I drove back to the industrial district. Same warehouse. This time, I waited until late past midnight. The black SUV was there, along with 2 other vehicles. Lights were on inside. I had a decision to make. I could wait for the police to build their case, which could take months, or I could gather evidence myself, force the issue. Emma's face flashed in my mind. Her note, her bravery. I grabbed my phone, set it to video, and climbed out of my car. The warehouse had windows high up. Around the side, I found a dumpster I could climb. From there, I could see inside. Through my phone's camera, I recorded everything. Pallets of plastic-wrapped packages. Andre Gillespie and 2 other men counting money. A woman I didn't recognize supervising. And, in the corner, clear as day, a stack of black duffel bags identical to the one found under my bed. My hands trembled as I recorded, but I kept the camera steady. 5 minutes of footage. Then voices approached outside, and I climbed down fast, quiet, got back to my car before anyone saw me. I had evidence. Real evidence. But Sutton was right, I'd obtained it illegally. The FBI couldn't use it. But I could. I spent Thursday creating a plan. The video I sent anonymously to a local news station with a tip about criminal activity at Wright Commercial Properties. No mention of Bernice, nothing that could be traced back to me. Just the address, the footage, and a suggestion they investigate. Then I waited. Friday morning, the story broke. Local warehouse suspected in drug operation. The news played my video blurred, source anonymous. Andre Gillespie's face was visible enough for identification. The reporter connected the warehouse to Wright Commercial Properties. My phone rang before noon. Detective Drew. Mr. Vaughn, did you send that video to Channel 7? I don't know what you're talking about, Detective. Uh-huh. Well, thanks to that video, we have probable cause for a warrant. We're hitting the warehouse this afternoon. Thought you'd want to know. I hope you find what you're looking for. I'm sure we will. And Mr. Vaughn, don't do anything else stupid. Let us handle this from here. Absolutely, Detective. I hung up and allowed myself a small smile. Sometimes you had to bend the rules to get justice. But I wasn't done yet. Bernice was the real target, and she was still free. That evening, the news reported the raid, major drug bust at local warehouse. 3 arrested, including property tenant Andre Gillespie. The investigation would follow the money, the drugs, the connections, and all roads would lead back to Bernice Wright. I just had to be patient. Saturday morning, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Kathy standing there, mascara-streaked, trembling. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She entered like she was walking into a stranger's house, which I suppose she was. We hadn't been alone together since the divorce was finalized. Thomas, she swallowed hard. I'm so sorry. For which part? All of it. The divorce. Letting mother control everything. Not believing you about the drugs. She sat heavily on my couch. The police came to the house yesterday. They questioned mother for hours. She lawyered up immediately. Clifford Whitaker himself showed up. I imagine he did. They asked me about her properties, about whether I knew about her tenants, about whether I'd ever seen drugs or suspicious activity. Kathy looked up at me, eyes red. Thomas, I had no idea. I swear I didn't know. Didn't know or didn't want to know. She flinched. Both. Maybe. Mother always said she was just managing Daddy's old properties. That the tenants were difficult, but she couldn't legally evict them. I never questioned it. You never question a lot of things. I know. Her voice broke. I let her poison me against you. She kept saying you didn't care about Emma, that you were always working, that you'd never provide the life Emma deserved. And I listened. God, Thomas, I'm so sorry. I sat across from her, maintaining distance. Why are you here, Kathy? CPS came too. They interviewed me without mother present. They asked about Emma, about our home environment, about mother's influence. She wiped her eyes. They're recommending Emma be placed with you. Full custody. They're saying my home environment is unstable and potentially dangerous. My heart leapt, but I kept my expression neutral. And what do you think? I think they're right. I think Emma needs to be with you. I think I've failed her as a mother by letting my mother run my life. She met my eyes. I'm not fighting this, Thomas. I'm going to agree to the custody change. And I'm going to testify against mother if the police need me to. That's a big step. She tried to destroy you. She tried to take Emma away from both of us, you with prison, me with CPS. She's been using my daughter as a pawn. Steel entered Kathy's voice, something I hadn't heard in years. I'm done being controlled. We talked for an hour. Kathy explained that Bernice had indeed given her a key to my place, claiming she needed to check on things occasionally. Kathy admitted she'd been weak, afraid of her mother's disapproval, desperate for her approval. She revealed that Bernice had been paying for everything: the house, the car, Emma's school, and had used that financial control as leverage. She threatened to cut me off if I ever reconciled with you, Kathy said. She wanted you completely out of our lives. Why? Because you weren't good enough. You weren't wealthy. You weren't from the right family. You didn't meet her standards. And because she wanted Emma all to herself, her perfect do-over grandchild. After Kathy left, I called Arnold Yates with the news. If Kathy agrees to the custody change and CPS recommends it, we can file for modification immediately, Arnold said, excitement in his voice. This could happen fast, Thomas. How fast? Emergency hearing within 2 weeks. If the judge agrees, Emma could be with you full-time by the end of the month. The end of the month was 12 days away. I spent Sunday cleaning Emma's room at my place, really cleaning, making it perfect. Joseph helped me paint one wall lavender, her favorite color. We hung new curtains, bought new sheets with butterflies on them. She's coming home, Joseph said. Not a question. She's coming home. Monday brought news. Andre Gillespie was cooperating with police. He'd admitted Bernice Wright was his landlord and had implied she knew about his activities. He'd given them financial records showing payments to her that exceeded the rent by substantial amounts. Protection money, he called it. Tuesday, the FBI raided 3 more of Bernice's properties. 2 additional arrests. Wednesday, Bernice Wright was arrested at her home on charges of conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine, money laundering, and attempted framing of evidence. Bail was set at $2 million. She posted it within hours. Clifford Whitaker, arranging everything. Thursday, I had my emergency custody hearing. The courtroom was small. Judge Annette Mills presiding, a stern woman in her 60s with a reputation for being fair but tough. The CPS worker testified first, recommending Emma be placed with me immediately. She detailed the investigation, Bernice's arrest, the instability of Kathy's home environment. Kathy testified next, admitting her mother's control over her life and her agreement to the custody change. Then, it was my turn. Mr. Vaughn, Judge Mills said, you've had a tumultuous few weeks. Yes, Your Honor. Your ex-mother-in-law stands accused of planting drugs in your home to frame you. That's an extraordinary allegation. It's also true, Your Honor. My daughter warned me. She risked her grandmother's anger to protect me. That's bravery no 7-year-old should need to have. How do I know you'll provide a stable environment? I'm a teacher. I've had the same job for 8 years. I've never missed a child support payment. I've never missed a visitation. I love my daughter more than anything in this world, and I will spend every day proving she made the right choice in trusting me. Judge Mills studied me for a long moment. Then, she looked at the CPS report, at the police reports, at Kathy, sitting quietly in the gallery. I'm granting full physical custody to Mr. Thomas Vaughn, effective immediately. Miss Wright will retain visitation rights, supervised until further notice. Bernice Wright is prohibited from any contact with a minor child pending resolution of the criminal charges against her. The gavel came down. I'd won. Emma moved in that Friday. Kathy brought her over with 2 suitcases and a stuffed elephant Emma had since she was a baby. Be good for Daddy, Kathy said, hugging her daughter tight. I'll see you next weekend, okay? Emma nodded, then ran to me. I caught her, lifted her up, felt her arms wrap around my neck. I missed you, Daddy. I missed you too, baby. So much. After Kathy left, Emma and I sat on the couch together. She was quiet, processing everything. Daddy, is Grandma going to jail? I chose my words carefully. Grandma did some bad things. She's going to have to answer for them. But that's not your fault, and it's not your job to worry about. I knew she was being mean to you. That's why I wrote the note. That was very brave. You saved me, Emma. She nestled against my side. Are you going to make her pay? The question startled me. 7 years old, and already she understood revenge. Maybe she'd inherited that from me. The law will make her pay, I said. That's how it works. But privately, I knew the law wasn't enough. Bernice had posted bail. She was home, comfortable, preparing her defense with Clifford Whitaker's help. She tried to destroy my life, traumatize my daughter, and she was still living in her mansion, still wielding her wealth like a weapon. The law would handle the criminal charges. But I wanted more. I wanted her to feel the same powerlessness she'd tried to force on me. I wanted revenge. And I was going to get it. The following week, I went back to teaching while Emma adjusted to her new school closer to my house, a good public school instead of the private academy Bernice had insisted on. Emma seemed happier, lighter. She made friends quickly, laughed more. Meanwhile, I researched. Joseph helped, pulling more financial records. We built a complete picture of Bernice's criminal enterprise. 12 properties, all used for illegal activities. Money laundering through legitimate businesses. Protection payments from tenants. A network of corruption that had been operating for over a decade. The FBI had most of this now, thanks to Andre Gillespie's cooperation. But they were building a slow, careful case. Trial wouldn't happen for months, maybe a year. I didn't have that kind of patience. What are you planning? Joseph asked one evening, sitting at my kitchen table surrounded by documents. I'm going to give the FBI everything they need to destroy her completely, and I'm going to do it in a way that leaves no doubt about who's responsible. That sounds dangerous. Probably. But she tried to take Emma from me. She tried to send me to prison. Danger is relative at this point. I'd learned something important about Bernice during my research. She was proud, arrogant. She believed her money and connections made her untouchable. She'd operated for years without consequences, and she'd grown careless. That carelessness was going to be her downfall. I spent 2 weeks preparing. I cataloged every piece of evidence Joseph and I had gathered. Financial records, property documents, tenant lists, police reports. I created a comprehensive file showing the full scope of Bernice's criminal operation. Then I packaged it beautifully printed, organized, indexed, and delivered it anonymously to Frederick Sutton at the FBI. But that was just the foundation. For the real revenge, I needed to hit Bernice where she'd feel it most. Her reputation, her wealth, her control. I started with the reputation, using contacts from my years, teaching students who'd gone into journalism, tech, law. I began leaking information. Not to mainstream media, but to social media. Blog posts, online forums, true crime communities. I created a narrative. Wealthy widow's secret criminal empire. The story spread organically. People love a scandal involving the wealthy. Within days, it was trending locally. News stations picked it up. Reporters started investigating on their own, finding connections we'd missed. Bernice's name became synonymous with corruption. Next, the wealth. This required more finesse. I couldn't directly access her money, but I could make sure others did. The IRS, for instance, is very interested in unreported income. An anonymous tip about the discrepancies in Bernice's tax filings led to an audit. State regulatory agencies received complaints about her properties, building code violations, safety hazards, illegal modifications. Every property she owned became a target of investigation. Insurance companies received information about fraudulent claims she'd filed over the years. Banks received evidence of money laundering. Business partners received documentation of her criminal activities. I methodically dismantled her empire, piece by piece, using the system against her. Finally, the control. This was personal. I approached every tenant in Bernice's properties and offered them a deal, testify against her in exchange for help relocating. I used some of my savings to provide moving assistance. I connected them with legal aid for criminal defense. I gave them a way out of her web. Most took it. The ones who refused, I made sure the police knew about their activities. Either they'd testify, or they'd go down with her. Within a month, Bernice's organization was collapsing. Tenants fled. Properties were seized in raids. The IRS froze her accounts. Her mansion went into foreclosure. And through it all, I made sure she knew it was me. I sent her a letter. Simple, typed, untraceable. You tried to take my daughter. Instead, you lost everything. This is justice. I didn't sign it. I didn't need to. She'd know. The trial began in late spring. 8 months after the drugs were found under my bed. 8 months of preparation, investigation, and systematic destruction of Bernice Wright's life. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. Andre Gillespie testified. A dozen other tenants testified. Financial experts detailed the money laundering. Police presented evidence from the warehouse raids. And Emma testified. I sat in the gallery, watching my now 8-year-old daughter tell the judge what she'd seen that Thursday morning. How Grandma had told her to watch TV. How she'd heard Grandma in Daddy's room. How Grandma had seemed nervous when she came out. Why did you write your father a note? The prosecutor asked gently. Because Grandma was being sneaky, and she doesn't like Daddy. I thought she might be doing something bad. Were you scared to tell him? Emma nodded. Grandma says people who tell family secrets are traitors. But Daddy needed to know. The defense attorney Clifford Whitaker tried to discredit her, but Emma held firm. My brave girl. Kathy testified too, admitting her mother's control, the financial leverage, the manipulation. She'd been in therapy since Emma moved in with me, working through years of abuse. She was becoming stronger, clearer, a better mother. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty, on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Mills, the same judge who'd granted me custody, presided. Mrs. Wright, you have used your wealth and position to engage in a criminal enterprise that has damaged this community and endangered lives. Most egregiously, you attempted to frame an innocent man to steal his child. That child is your own granddaughter, whom you claim to love. Instead of nurturing her, you traumatized her. Instead of protecting her father, you tried to destroy him. You have shown no remorse, no recognition of the harm you've caused. Bernice stood straight, defiant even now. I sentence you to 20 years in federal prison, with no possibility of parole for 15 years. The gavel came down. Bernice was 73 years old. She'd be 88 before she could even apply for parole. She'd die in prison. I felt Emma's hand slip into mine. She'd insisted on being here for the sentencing, and Kathy had agreed. Is it over, Daddy? It's over, baby. We walked out of the courthouse together, Emma between Kathy and me. The three of us united for the first time in years. The sun was shining. Spring flowers bloomed in the courthouse garden. Emma ran ahead, chasing a butterfly. Thank you, Kathy said softly, for not giving up on her. She's my daughter. I'll never give up on her. I know that now. She paused. Thomas, I know we can't go back. Too much has happened. But maybe we can be better going forward. As co-parents, as allies. I'd like that. She smiled tentative, genuine, and followed Emma toward the parking lot. I stood there for a moment, feeling the weight lift. The anger, the fear, the desperate need for revenge. All of it dissipating like morning fog. Bernice Wright had tried to destroy me. Instead, I'd survived, grown stronger, gotten my daughter back. And I'd made sure justice was served, not just through the courts, but through the systematic dismantling of everything she'd built on corruption and cruelty. She'd lost her freedom, her fortune, her family, and her legacy. I'd won everything that mattered. A year later, life had settled into a comfortable routine. Emma was thriving straight A's, lots of friends, happy. Kathy and I had developed a functional co-parenting relationship. She had Emma every other weekend now, and some weeknights. We'd never be together again romantically, but we were united in putting Emma first. Joseph and I were having coffee one Saturday morning while Emma was at her mom's place. You ever think about what you did? He asked. The revenge thing? Sometimes. Why? No regrets? I considered it. I destroyed a woman's life. Methodically, deliberately. I used every tool at my disposal to make sure she lost everything. So yes, sometimes I wonder if I went too far. But then I remember what she tried to do. She tried to send me to prison. She tried to take Emma. She manipulated and controlled my daughter for years. And she would have kept doing it if I hadn't stopped her. I met Joseph's eyes. She made the choice to plant those drugs. Every consequence that followed was her fault, not mine. You sound certain. I am. I didn't break any laws, not in ways that mattered. I just made sure the laws that existed were enforced. I made sure the truth came out. That's not revenge. That's justice. Aggressive justice. She earned it. We finished our coffee in comfortable silence. Then, Joseph smiled. You know what the best part is? What? Emma. She's incredible. Smart, brave, kind. Bernice tried to turn her into a pawn, but instead she turned into a hero. She saved you, Thomas. And you saved her right back. He was right. Emma was my victory. Not the trial. Not Bernice's imprisonment. Not the satisfaction of watching her empire crumble. Emma, laughing in the sunshine. Emma, doing homework at my kitchen table. Emma, safe and loved and free. That was the real revenge. Building a life so good that Bernice's worst efforts couldn't touch it. That evening, Emma came home with stories about her weekend with Kathy. They'd gone to the zoo, had ice cream, watched movies. Kathy was doing better, really better. She'd moved out of her mother's mansion, gotten her own apartment, started working again. Mom says Grandma's lawyer keeps trying to appeal. Emma mentioned casually while setting the table for dinner. That's true, but it won't work. The evidence is solid. Good. I don't want her to get out. She won't. Not for a long time. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, Daddy, did you make her go to jail? I knelt down to her level. The judge made her go to jail because she broke the law. I just made sure people knew the truth about what she'd done. Is that why you were working so hard last year? All that research with Mr. Law? My daughter was too perceptive. Yes. I wanted to make sure she couldn't hurt anyone else. Emma hugged me. I'm glad you did. She was mean. She was. But she can't be mean to us anymore. We ate dinner together, spaghetti, Emma's favorite. Afterwards, we watched a movie, and Emma fell asleep on the couch halfway through. I carried her to bed, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. "Love you, Daddy," she mumbled, half asleep. "Love you too, baby. Always." I stood in her doorway for a moment, watching her sleep peacefully. No nightmares, no fear, just a little girl, safe in her room, in her home, with her father who would never stop protecting her. Bernice Wright had gambled everything on destroying me. She'd lost. I'd won not through violence or cruelty, but through patience, intelligence, and an unwavering commitment to protecting what mattered most. Sometimes the best revenge isn't dramatic. It's simply surviving, thriving, and making sure the person who tried to break you sees exactly how much they failed. Bernice would spend the next 15 years, probably the rest of her life, in prison, thinking about what she'd lost. Her freedom, her wealth, her granddaughter. Meanwhile, I'd spend those years watching Emma grow up, teaching her, loving her, being the father she deserved. That was justice. That was victory. And it was enough. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.